Hi, I'm Steve Good. Welcome to my Scroll Saw Workshop. Out here in the shop tonight, I want to put together another project for you guys, and I'll be posting the pattern for this little desk bookshelf, adjustable desk bookshelf, on my blog at www.scrollsawworkshop.blogspot.com. Be a pretty easy project to build tonight. We're going to use all 3/4 inch red oak. I get a lot of email from people asking me to design more projects out of 3/4 inch material because it's so easy to come by. So this is your chance. Everything in here is 3/4 inch. Okay, let me go ahead and get the camera in here a little closer and show you what we're going to do tonight. Go ahead and take the books out of our little bookshelf here. And you've probably seen these before, but if you haven't, it's an adjustable desk book holder. And the way it works is these pieces slide back and forth on these runners, so you'll probably hold up to about 10 to 15 books in here. And if the books are, if you have less books, you can move this in and adjust it in to hold wherever you want. When the weight of the book hits this, it actually locks into place because it pivots just a little bit and locks in on the runner. It's going to be a pretty easy project to build, no complicated cuts. Probably take you a couple, 3 hours to cut this one out. I also did not glue the runners to the base here. I just used some square head screws to hold it together, and that way if we want to take it apart and pack it or ship it, it'll come apart real easy. Okay, with that, let's go ahead and get started. The supplies we're going to need to build this little project tonight are again fairly simple. A lot of you out there have asked me to put together some projects using 3/4 inch material because it's so easy to find, and this is the perfect project for that. This little tabletop bookcase or book stand needs a little bit of heft to it to hold those books. So everything in the project is 3/4 inch. I've gone ahead and milled out all the pieces of the oak. I've got the stretchers here, 2 of those. I've got the 2 book ends, and those are about 9 inches by 6 inches. And I've got the 2 base stands that are about 9 inches by almost 3 inches. So that's what we're going to build this project out of tonight. You're also going to need the plans off the website at www.scrollsawworkshop.blogspot.com. And of course you're going to need some of the other materials that we always use here on the Scroll Saw Workshop. You're going to need your box tape to cut this thicker oak. It's a good idea to use the tape on it. In this project, we're actually going to use some hardware fasteners to fasten the runners to the base. So I've got some screws here that we're going to use to attach it, and of course you're going to need some spray adhesive to apply the pattern to the wood. So with that, let's go ahead and get the pattern on the wood, and then we'll get started. Here's a tip that I want to give you about when you cut out your patterns and you cut out your blanks of wood. In this particular case, on this pattern, we've got a flat edge down here and a couple of straight edges up each side. So what I will generally do is, on the table saw, I'll go ahead and cut the piece out exactly the size of the pattern. That way, when I go to saw this pattern on the scroll saw, I've got a good straight edge down here already cut, and the 2 sides are already cut. So the only thing I have to worry about cutting at this point is the arch across the top, and then all the interior cuts. And especially on the base, trying to cut this long straight bottom right here and get it to sit down flat after you cut it on the scroll saw is a little bit difficult. So why not just use your table saw that's going to give you a nice clean cut down the bottom, and when you apply this pattern, make it the correct size, and then you just have to cut the interior. So we'll have a good flat top and a good flat bottom for these bases. Let's go ahead and get the spray adhesive on the pattern and get these patterns all glued up onto the wood, and then we'll be ready to start cutting here pretty quick. I'm going to be very careful to line this edges up on the bottom of these pieces. And you can see what I'm talking about now. When we have our base and we set it down, we're going to have a nice flat surface to set the base on. Got the pattern applied to the wood blanks, and I'm going to go ahead and cover each one of these completely in box tape. And again, I know there's some people out there that do not think this is a necessary step. I've done it for 20-25 years, and I guess the habits are hard to break. When I go back to not using the tape, I'm always disappointed. So I use it, and again, it helps lubricate the blade, and in my experience, it makes the project much easier to cut. So go ahead and use your own judgment about whether you like to use the tape or not. But I'm going to cover all the pieces in tape before we begin to cut the project. All the pieces over here at the drill press now. We're going to go ahead and drill all these entry holes. Let me go back just 1 second to the use of tape, because I do get quite a few email about this, and again, there's different opinions on whether the tape's worth doing or not. Recently talked to a long-time scroller, and he said he thought it was just a total waste of time, that he'd never had any luck with it at all. And of course, you know, my opinion is just the opposite. So again, if you're uncomfortable with using the tape or you don't find any value in it, I certainly don't have any problem saying go ahead and cut without it. It's just a habit I've got into. I do find it useful, so that's why I do it. So anyway, especially on this thicker material and pieces like cherry that tend to burn real bad, I always use the tape. Okay, let's go ahead and do some entry holes.